Good morning. Today, Tuesday. We'll start our group project later today. We'll have a little Git lecture and another little show and tell of a former remote preps project. But with no further ado, we're going to get started with Michael's presentation, followed by Sarah's presentation, if she's ready to give it. All right, Michael, go ahead, take it away.
Okay. Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Okay, starting to share the screen now. All right, so this is a basic presentation on the hero/heroine journey and financial planning, which is kind of related. You'll see what I mean in a sec. So here we go.
We can't hear the video audio if there is audio.
Wait, we can't hear it?
You can't hear the video's audio. It actually has to do like when you share your screen, you got to click that little button that says like also share audio.
Let me try that again, sorry.
Oh, no worries.
Bring that back. Let's do that again. Share computer sound.
Yep, that's what you want.
Got it, sorry. Well, now we all know. What does that mean? Zoom, please install Zoom on here. I have no idea. Oh, you know what? Can we do Sarah first while I figure this out?
Yeah. Sarah, you ready to present?
Yes.
All right. I can't wait to hear your topic.
Oh yeah, I bet. Okay, I'm going to share my screen then. And maybe it'll work.
It's working.
Hey. So for attempting to duck out of presentations altogether, I was assigned a topic of what are snails even trying to do, which is a really good question. But then to think about that, you have to ask, what is anyone really trying to do? I mean, look at how humans spend their time, right? Everyone's always scurrying about, and about the only thing you can be certain of is that, spoiler alert, you die at the end of it, and whatever you've done till then is bound to upset someone. As far as anyone has been able to tell me, all the strange things unshelled people do seem to come down to getting more of some combination of food and sex, usually recreationally, but classically for the purpose of procreation, and somehow one leads to the other, and I've been assured it's really all very romantic. But really, none of the tons of different species of gastropods are that different from people. Also, compared to, in fact, snails are just like people, aside from the shells, the slime trails, eye stalks, tongues like siege engines, tentacles, being served as starters, and a courtship like a full-bodied French kiss with a disembodied tongue just before stabbing one another and then proceeding to a mutual impregnation with both mommy and daddy parts, and also those crazy venomous freaking harpoons that sea snails have. Aside from that, the main difference between people and snails is that whatever people do, chances are snails do it better, just, you know, slower. If you're driving in your car and you come to a sheer cliff, I mean, what are you going to do, right? It's not like your car is Spider-Man yet. But gardeners growing climbing plants often despair at how snails manage to eat them from the top down, despite a suspicious lack of wings. And even though they're soft and squishy, thanks to their super mucus, they can crawl along razor blades. Also, compared to snails, we are total wusses, as one of those common little ones can vertically drag 10 times its own weight, and another snail, weighing just a quarter ounce or 7 grams, horizontally drag 12 reels of cotton, a screwdriver, a key, a knife, or more than 50 times its own weight. If something happens to the eyes at the end of their stalks, they can remake them at the end of what they've got left. And yeah, even some land snails get really big, but some of those sea snails are total badasses. These guys live near hydrothermal vents and have a bacteria factory making armor out of iron sulfide. So yeah, to reflect on the original topic, which should have asked what are snails really trying to do, I think the only sane answer is whatever they want. Thank you.
That was awesome. Any questions? I definitely learned something about snails today. Good presentation. Ready to take on the snail topic. Michael, are you ready with your presentation?
Yep, let's give this a whirl. Hello? Can you hear me? Thumb up, anyone?
Yep.
Okay, excellent. So can anyone hear this now?
I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, and every hill and mountain shall be made low, the rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together.
We have not even to risk the adventure alone, for the heroes of all time have gone before us. The labyrinth is thoroughly known. We have only to follow the thread of the hero path. And where we had thought to find an abomination, we shall find a god. And where we had thought to slay another, we shall slay ourselves. Where we had thought to travel outward, we shall come to the center of our own existence. And where we had thought to be alone, we shall be with all the world.
Okay, so the hero path in and of itself. So if anyone doesn't know, they've probably seen the hero path in most of their favorite movies, or the greatest movies of all time, and also the greatest stories of all time, which include Star Trek, The Hobbit, Harry Potter, so on and so forth. And since there's a limit on time, I'm not going to zoom through all of it. But what is the hero path? The hero path generally follows a very specific cycle, which can be broken down into much more smaller pieces, but nonetheless, the bigger pieces are basically that wherever you find yourself in life, whether you're younger or older, you have a sense of a call to adventure. When you get supernatural aid, then you have to cross some threshold, and from the threshold, you go on your adventure. You generally die and are reborn. You transform, atone, and then you return to where you came from with some sort of gift. So kind of in our lives, and definitely from where I stand, the call to adventure generally is to say, oh, wait, there's this thing called programming and tech, right? There's great amount of stuff that we can do. And supernatural aid would be something like remote beta and Zan and Nisa and all the guidance that they can provide. The threshold guardian, that can be the hack reactor immersive interview, right, to get in or not. And then if you do get in, if you do get past that threshold, there are challenges and temptations. The challenges would be the projects and all the stuff we have to learn. And the temptation might be the temptation to quit, where we say, oh, wait, I really am an imposter and I'm not good enough. And hopefully you get beyond that, and you are reborn, where you have the confidence and the knowledge to say, okay, well, I am actually good enough. I can code, and you transform in a tone where you look back at yourself and you say, oh, well, that was me before, and this is me now, and I can see the world in a different way and actually code and create stuff. And once you do that, you return with the gift of the goddess, which is generally the knowledge of how you can see the world through code and through tech, and to build stuff. And from there, you return to where you were and go on a new journey or a new adventure. So the voice that we heard was Joseph Campbell, who wrote The Hero with 1,000 Faces, which is one of the greatest books written on just generally literature and the common theme and story that winds through them. One of the greatest metaphors in the hero's journey is the labyrinth, which the most famous of which is actually represented in Chartres Cathedral in just outside of Paris in France. And that labyrinth is the following. This is one of the oldest representations of a labyrinth that is a metaphor for life that exists. And the entry point is here, and the destination point is here. So the journey that we take can take us further from our goal as we wind through the labyrinth, or further from our goal. But if we keep on it, we will inevitably reach it should we not, surrender, not give up, and continue to where we have to go. So that's the labyrinth, generally in the big picture. Now, where does financial planning come in? While you're on your journey, you have to make sure your money's right, and all this stuff doesn't fall apart midway. And that actually this comes from a small project that I helped my friend with, who was taking a financial planning exam. And I just built this out in Excel very quickly to help him understand the big picture, where let's say I was 30 years old and I had $110,000 worth of retirement assets. That's not my checking account. That's something like a 401k. For those of us that are too young and don't know what a 401k is, you should probably find out. Whether it's a 401k or an IRA. And I also put up this Excel in the Slack in case someone wants to take a look at it or mess around with it later. Now, let's say I was to start out with $100,000 worth of retirement assets in my 401k. If I'm presuming that grows at 8% per year in a fantasy world where I return 8% every single year over year, then this $100,000 in 35 years turns into 1.6. Now, while all this is happening, I have to take a couple of things into account. And those are that every single year from age 30, I can have a health event, whether that's a car accident or whether it's some sort of other health event like cancer or diabetes, or it doesn't matter. It's just something that will affect my health to the point where I may be incapacitated or I may just be able to get over it. So one of the ways to get to take that into account and to guard against that is to have retirement assets, but also to have health insurance, which is very important, and a life insurance. But that comes generally later when you start a family and or you get married, because should something happen to you, like a health event, that money will be able to be there. Should you have kids, it will help them get up to and through college and help them start their own journey. And while all this is happening, while your money's growing, while you're taking your health into account, while you're working on things like programming, et cetera, to keep your brain sharp, you also should be keeping your overall wealth and health, overall wealth up to par, because CrossFit or just resistance exercise or yoga, or it doesn't matter, it will just help you be healthy so that the stuff that you can take into account health-wise is being addressed. At this point, if you've had kids when you were right around here, your kids will be in college and you'll be just looking forward to retirement. Now, part of the idea here is also that you want to be able to have retirement assets where you're not relying on Social Security, which may or may not be there or may not be paying out what they're promising for it to pay out now. And the idea is to have enough retirement assets to be healthy enough and not have anything happen, and to do CrossFit or whatever, where you can reach retirement age and then enjoy all the amazing adventures you can have after that, and have enough assets where you're not dependent or reliant on anyone other than yourself, and hopefully your spouse, should you want to do that. And also, there's a really big thing that a lot of people aren't considering, but that I'm hearing more and more of, which is basically that if we can live to 2070, which would be amazing, depending on where medicine is and technology is, we could possibly cure a lot of the diseases that we currently experience, where we can live to a phenomenal age, which is 100 years or older in a functional way. So that's just the main theme. And as an aside, why are retirement assets really important? Because if anyone's ever heard of a guy named Max Levchin, he used to be the head of security for a company called PayPal. They sold PayPal to eBay, and they went their separate ways, and they started lots of companies. Anyway, so he helped start Yelp, and he had, it was reported a couple of years ago, 2 million or just over 2 million shares in Yelp, in his Roth IRA. A Roth IRA is a tax advantage account where should you get to retirement and be able to access that money, when that money comes out of a Roth IRA, it comes out tax-free. So he had approximately $90 million in 2012, let's say, in his Roth IRA. If you were to go back and look at this, if I had $90 million compounding at 8% for 35 years, that would be $1.3 billion tax-free coming out when I'm 65. So I think that's pretty cool. And that's why having your finances in order and having good advisors and being actually, financially savvy and educated is hugely important as we continue in our careers on the hero's journey. That's all. Questions?
I don't know if I missed this, but does that spreadsheet account for only having a set amount when you start out, or does it account for continued investment into whatever fund you're investing in?
Are you saying, like additions to the fund?
Correct. Yeah.
No, it does not account for that. It was a simplified example. It can. I could just throw in a column and say, if I'm adding 5% to this growing figure every year, it would probably just really quick math. That final figure would probably go up, 20 to 30%, which would be significant.
Mm-hmm.
That's a house, essentially.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Yep.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. Any other questions?
This isn't a question, it's just a comment. I appreciate you involving mythology and the hero's journey. That was very unexpected, but it was very nice. Thank you.
Yeah. It's also the heroine's journey, right? So we should keep that into mind.
Awesome. That was a great presentation. Definitely motivating to me to spend some time looking more in depth at the future. It's too easy to get caught up in the present without making a plan for the future.
Absolutely. And I just threw up the Excel spreadsheet. It can be changed to whatever anyone wants.
Very cool. All right. Well, you guys, today is the start of another journey for you guys. We're going to get you guys started on your group projects. You're going to have the rest of today to work on it. Tuesday, tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, we'll meet quickly for presentations, and we'll give you the rest of the time to be working on your projects in your groups. Friday, you'll only have like a third of the day because we'll meet back up with plenty of time so that each group can give basically like an 8-minute presentation on their projects. The groups are up now in the whiteboard. You'll see that each group has your very own hipster business name. And I'm going to get into that a little bit. We're going to encourage you guys to use at least a piece of a GitHub workflow. It is optional. It's up to you. If you guys are more comfortable with kind of continuing to use just the Flubits workflow as far as keeping up-to-date versions, in either case, you'll be using Flubits to collaborate. But as you know, in Flubits right now, when you guys are both logged in and you're working together, all's good. If one of you logs out of Flubits and then continues to work on the project, when you rejoin, it asks you, overwrite local or overwrite master. Or overwrite remote. And that can be like, as projects get bigger, that can be a challenge, right? Maybe you don't want to completely like overwrite the remote that all your pairs are counting on, but you don't want to like lose all the local changes that you've made as well. So you can continue to like navigate that way, or we're just going to introduce like kind of a basic group Git workflow here that you guys can kind of start to practice with and continue to evolve with. But before we do that, I got one demo from the previous remote prep class I want to show you guys so you can have an idea of something that someone did. It's going to take me just a minute to pull it up here. I didn't close it, did I? There we go. Okay, here it comes. Cool. So our requirement for it is just that you use at least one external API, right? Yesterday we used the Open Weather Map API. These guys used Open Weather Map API and also the Google Maps API. So it's helps you pack appropriately for trips. So let's say we are headed to, let's say, Austin. Gives us like a little tip. and tells us the temperature. You can see like the color of the map also changes, right? Now it's green. Perfect out. If we head to, let's see, where's going to be cold? We get a Giphy and a little saying. Well, where else can we go? Bishop. I don't know. Any other cities you guys want to know what the weather's like? So, yeah, pretty basic. You can probably like imagine some of the functionality that's under the hood here. This is their, well, actually, I don't think I shared the whole screen, but right, like there's basically an array with a bunch of different sayings in it. Depending on what this returns, they pick a different saying, they pick a different color to change the map. They just send this Boston off to both Google Maps API and the Open Weather Map API to get some information back, current temperature, and this obviously in the background is showing whereabouts it is in the world. So any questions on kind of like just this is one example. This is one project one group happened to do. They picked those two APIs and put this guy together. Oops, there's chat. I wonder if I'm missing something. Cool. Awesome. So yeah, the first thing we'll probably be to do is like kind of maybe pick an idea what you want or just search APIs and find some interesting information. But the workflow that we're going to encourage you guys to use here, at least to get started with, is to show my whole screen. So we've created an organization, an RP18 organization here in GitHub. I think Zan's adding you guys to it, or we will shortly. You'll navigate to this organizational website, RP18. You'll find the group that you are going to be a part of. This is Zan and I's group. Initially, you'll have to initialize this with, right? This is like basically an uninitialized repo, these brand new ones. So someone locally will have to just create an index.html file and do this, right? Like we had done before, do this part down here to create an index.html file. From there, everyone else here will be able to click on it, fork it. So I've already done this to mine, fork it locally to your own GitHub repo. So then once you're there, just like we've done before with JavaScript koans, you'll clone it down locally, and then you will have all that code to do. So the gist of it is at this point, you're gonna have kind of like, you're gonna wanna set it up now to have two different relationships. You have this code, this is going to be your origin, right? The one that's on your own personal GitHub. This is at nisaw/lettucefeast. I see here it was forked from rp18/lettucefeast. When I go into my, let's see, I have both of them open. Oops. So this is my local copy, right? This is the one I have cloned down from nisaw/lettucefeast. I have access now to two separate kind of repos. When I type in git remote v, I have my origin, right? And I see this, it's at nisaw/lettucefeast. I've added a second kind of repo that mine can look at, which is called the upstream. And you can see this one is directly on that organization, rp18lettucefeast.git. How I did that, this one is going to come along default. As soon as I clone it down, I'm going to get this origin. To add this upstream, I do git remote add upstream, and then I would paste in that, which I would get from here, right? The main repo, the organizational repo. I'm going to copy and paste that in so that I have an upstream. I have an origin and an upstream. The workflow is going to be just as you have, if you've been using Git at all, the way you have it is locally, you make changes. As you make changes, you check the status. I don't think I've done any changes at this point. Oops. Okay, I haven't made any changes, but if you do, you just do the same git add, git commit, and then finally git push origin master. Let me make a quick change so we can do this a little bit together. Oops, that's their project. This guy over. Here we go. Okay, me paragraph. And of course, the picket. So I save it. Go back here. Did I make this to the wrong one? Okay, hold on 1 second. Just trying to do, let's do this. Okay, there's the modification I made. Git add status, make sure it was added to the staging area. There it is. Git commit message add h2. So I have it locally, I have it up to date. I'm going to push it up to my origin master. Now I will see those changes on my local branch. Go back to it, repositories. Add H2, we can see it there, and there is my H2, right? But in the, sorry, go this way. In this main branch, that change has not shown up yet, right? Haven't done anything to the upstream. If I want to like kind of submit changes back up to, and this is the part of it that we're gonna go over in more detail later in the week. So at this point, all we want you to do is just keep a local copy. So whatever you guys work on day to day, just keep updating your local copy. So you have your own little branch that has like the most up-to-date stuff on it. Eventually what we're gonna do is create on this main lettuce feast, right? We're gonna create some new branches, one for each of your group members. So I'm gonna create one called Nissa. So now I'm on branch Nissa, right? There's a master and a Nissa branch on this actual organizational lettuce feast repo. Then when I go to my profile, we're just gonna do this just for practice mostly. Like updating your local is what we want you to do, like day in and day out, you know, git push origin master, so that whatever you do with your partners, you have this like local copy preserved. At the end of this, we're gonna give you a quick rundown and a chance to go into your local copy and actually do like a pull request to the organizational version. So I'm in my local here. I'm in my origin, right? Nissa W / lettuce feast. I can click on new pull request. And I'm going to now like offer my changes, right? Back up to, I can pick the base fork. I'm gonna say, hey, I want this to go to, I'm gonna say to my branch on lettuce feast, not the main master one, but lettuce feast. Look, Zan has one too. I'm gonna put it to mine. Yeah, there's nothing to compare, right? Because I haven't actually done anything different yet. Let's do this. And I'm gonna send it from my local, right? So here it is going on to the, there we go, that's what I needed to change. So going to the organizational lettuce feast to the branch Nissa W from my local. Create pull request, I have a little message. I just say, hey, same thing, I added the H2, create a pull request. GitHub's gonna do some checks, see if there's any conflicts. Now I'm in this organizational lettuce feast. Any member of your organization could go here and be like, hey, what did Nissa change? Like, maybe let me see if this is a good merge. Oh, looks like she added this H2, whereas formerly we didn't have it. That looks good. Cool. Let's merge it in. Merge pull request, confirm merge. Now this organizational version of Lettuce Feast is going to have the changes I made locally that I think I merged it. Oh, I merged it into my branch. That's where, sorry. There we go. There's the H2. Now it's on the organizational. So this kind of went through quickly, obviously. But keep on, what we just want you to do at this point is pull down the repo from RP18 for your group and get a local copy so that whatever you do during this week, you have like a local version on it. We'll meet up later in the week and just at least push up to your named branch, do a pull request to your named branch on your organizational page. If there's any questions on Git workflow, like if the first lectures of Git workflow weren't that, you kind of forgot how they work, then have Xander and I come into your group and we'll do a little help walking through you guys setting up your initial repo. But otherwise, any questions or any comments before we set you guys free to meet up with your groups and start getting a plan together?
Separate question. How long is everything up or available to us after the class actually ends? Like as far as the stuff in whiteboard, the videos that we did, all that stuff.
So far, none of it has been taken down ever for remote prep. It started like last summer. And the curriculum and the videos, the links to YouTube won't go bad. I could say like, if they change it in the future, I don't think they would change it to be less than like 3 months of access if they eventually decided like we're deleting all these Google Docs and whatnot. But like the Slack channel will be open to you guys. The whiteboard, the Google Doc will still be up there for you. Basically indefinitely, like I haven't changed any links or any access to any of the documents.
I'm going to make a comment. If any of y'all are trying to figure out ideas and you come to a point and you're like, I wonder if we'll be able to finish this or some version of this in 3 days, definitely feel free to reach out to us on Slack and ask us to come by and we can come talk about scoping the project.
Definitely remember the eternal scoping advice is to like pick a project, cut the scope in half, and then cut the scope in half again before you get started. 3 days is going to go by super, super fast. It's going to be Friday before we know it. So I want to give you guys as much time as possible to get after this, but it will go quick and it'll feel like less time than you want.